This Women's Day, the World Transplant Games Federation celebrates women powered by the gift of life. We caught up with long-standing kidney recipient Heather Edgell, who was one of our first inductees for the Federation's Hall of Fame under the Spirit of Competition category. Heather was one of the first people in New South Wales to receive a kidney transplant back in 1979. At the time, Heather was in her mid-30s and divorced with 2 young sons. After 7 hard years on dialysis, she received the call that changed her life and gave her another 43 years of life.
Well, I was on dialysis for 7 years. Never thought I would get a transplant after all that time. Used to get very tired, didn't feel like doing anything. But then I had to put myself to do it because I had 2 children to look after.
She received the call at 1 a.m. in the morning, a call that changed her life. At the time, she was told her transplant would last 5 years, and today she is 43 years post-transplant and still going strong.
No, well, they gave me 5 years. They said your transplant will last 5 years. And I took it at that, But I've been lucky it lasted 43 years.
Heather said it took her a little while post-transplant to get active again. She started off by playing some social tennis and tempen bowling. In 1986, Heather received a phone call from someone who was putting together a team from Australia to take to the 1987 World Transplant Games in Austria, and that was how she began attending the World Transplant Games and taking up the sport of swimming.
A guy from Melbourne rang me up because Melbourne was the hub at that time for transplant people. But I knew nothing about it until he rang me up and said to me, we're looking for people to make a team to go to Austria. He said, would you be interested? And I said, I can't do sport. I said, I don't know, haven't done sport. And he said, just pick something and train for it. So I ended up picking swimming, and that's how I started training for the swimming.
As she got older in years and started to find the swimming a little too much, she switched to participate in tempen bowling and eventually petanque. After her years of participation, Heather has won an incredible 43 medals at the World Transplant Games and broken the world record in swimming 3 times. She boasts a collection of well over 100 medals when combining her participation in Australian Transplant Games and tempen bowling competitions.
I won 15 gold, 20 silver and 8 bronze.
Since Heather's first participation in the Games in 1987, she has attended an additional 15 World Transplant Games. She has travelled the world and developed lifetime friendships. Heather says meeting people from all over the world has been a highlight.
Loved it. I love making friends from all different countries and being able to talk to them, and I met so many friends from around the world.
When we asked Heather what encouraged her to keep attending the Games for all those years and to keep training and swimming, she said the competition was her motivation. She always got second place to a Danish swimmer and was determined to eventually get that gold.
I met up with this lady from Denmark, and she was a swimmer, and found out she was a coach in Denmark. But very lovely lady, we got on well together, and we were sort of trying to win or race against each other, but she always got the gold and I ended up with the silver. And I thought I'll give it a go and see if I can do a bit of extra training. So I got myself a coach, and I used to go at 5 o'clock in the morning training every weekday in the mornings. It was in Vancouver, that's right, 1993, and won 3 gold medals and 2 silver, and I broke the world record in veterans 3 times. And this lady from Denmark, she said, how did you do that? I said, I decided to get a coach.
Apart from breaking those world records, Two of Heather's proudest moments have been when she carried the flag for Australia in 1995 at the World Transplant Games in Manchester, United Kingdom, and when she was inducted into the Hall of Fame at the 2017 World Transplant Games in Malaga, Spain. She describes what it was like hearing her name in that Hall of Fame moment.
I didn't even think it was going to be me, well, one of the people. And when my name was called out, I was so proud to be able to hear my name and be able to go up and receive the trophy.
Heather has dedicated much of her life post-transplant talking to others about transplantation and encouraging organ donation. Heather worked for 27 years at a hospital as an admin officer. The nurses would ask Heather to speak to the transplant patients, where she always encouraged them to look after their transplant. Heather wants to encourage everyone who perhaps have never been to a World Transplant Games or who think it's just too daunting to have a go and participate.
Give it a go. You don't have to be good. I see some people think you say Olympics or transplant Olympics or transplant games, they think, oh, I've got to be good, to get in there. And I always tell them, you don't have to be good. Just participate, compete.
Today, at age 78, Heather still keeps moving by participating in Tempen bowling. She plays competition league every Thursday night. Heather never got to meet her donor's family and always wished she could have. But if she did, she would just like to say,
thanks for your generosity and helping me with a second chance of life.
Heather is an inspiration to so many and a true example of the gift of life.
Please come to Perth for the World Transplant Games. Have a very, very happy Women's Day.